machine was standing in front of her. We just want to talk. Chapter 2. One day before.
"There looks like I slipped in a wasp's nest while coated in sugar."
Samson didn't have the energy to respond. Instead, he grunted and took a seat at the small table in the kitchen on the first floor of the 3-story building that served as both his home and his office. From her habitual morning position at the cooker, cleaner-turned-cook-turned-receptionist Ida Capstick was regarding him with a fierce look. The same fierce look she wore on a daily basis, but with added frown, if that was possible.
"Is summat ailing thee?"
The words were brusque, a mug of tea thumped down before him, the only currency of affection Ida traded in. He shook his head, lying as easily as breathing, thanks to a lifetime spent in deceit. But Ida wasn't having it, continuing to stare at him, arms folded across her whippet-thin frame.
"If I didn't know better, happen I'd suspect there's been hit in the bottle," she continued, scrutinizing him unabashed.
But Ida did know better. Samson O'Brien, unlike his father, was known for his abstinence when it came to alcohol. Barring one momentous lapse a few months ago, a lapse which had him vowing never to repeat the experience, he never touched the stuff. Although the way things were going, crossing the road to spend the day drowning his sorrows in the fleece definitely had an appeal.
"I'm just tired," he murmured. "It's been a long week."
Ida stared for a heartbeat longer, then turned to the stove, a frying pan already heating.
"Not for me, thanks," said Samson. "I'm not hungry."
It was like he hadn't spoken, Ida adding bacon to the pan regardless, and then buttering thick slices of bread while the meat sizzled. Downstairs, the back door opened and closed, 2 sets of footsteps audible down the hall and starting up the stairs, one set considerably faster than the other. Seconds later, in a grey blur, a large Weimaraner burst into the kitchen, tail wagging furiously.
"Morning, Tolpuddle."
Samson greeted the dog with a hug, feeling light of heart for a few moments, and loved. When he looked up from his canine embrace, his landlady, business partner, and the cause of all his misery was standing in the doorway. Face pale, eyes red-rimmed from a lack of sleep and a smile tight with tension, Delilah Metcalfe looked every bit as rough as Samson felt.
"Morning."
Her greeting was tossed vaguely into the room, her voice brittle, unsure. Ida turned, bestowing the same scrutiny on this newcomer as she had on Samson. She clicked her tongue in admonishment.
"Tha's been drinking from the same well as him,"
she muttered, tipping her head towards the table's only occupant. "I'm fine," Delilah said, managing to make her smile broader. But even though she'd made great strides in the fine art of dissembling under his expert tutorage over the last 6 months, she wasn't fooling her current audience. "Just not very hungry, so nothing for me, thanks."
"There's tea in the pot,"
replied Ida, buttering 2 more slices of bread. Delilah shrugged, poured a mug of tea, and returned to stand in the doorway, her gaze resting steadfastly on Tolpuddle, who'd moved away to take up position as close to the frying bacon as the cook would tolerate.
"Sit thyself down. Samson won't bite,"
muttered Ida over her shoulder. Judging by the look that crossed Delilah's face, she wasn't convinced, but she did as she was told, taking the chair opposite. Still, she didn't look at him. This woman, who only 12 hours ago had stood him up, who had lifted his emotions to dizzying heights before abruptly turning on her heel, leaving him crestfallen and alone. He might have been misguided, but when it came to matters of the heart, he'd expected more consideration from someone who ran a dating agency.
"There."
Ida placed a plate in front of each of them, laden with the bacon butties neither had wanted.
"Eat up."
They ate silently, in contrast to Tolpuddle's enthusiastic gulps, his serving gone in seconds. All the while, Ida watched them, until Samson could bear it no longer. "So," he said, pushing away his empty plate, the sandwich leaden in his stomach. "I wonder what crimes Bruncliffe will have lined up for us today." He used the word us.